on the backline carry of Elk. Shanks isn't going to be as hard to deal with this time, obviously being on this low to mid-range Rise pick. And I think it's going to be quite interesting because for EDG now, you now have side pressure of your own to be able to play around with. You now can come in from flanking positions. Viper now is more safe to put out this damage. For WE, the thing that jumps out to me right away is just how you can instantly chunk out health bars without having to commit, right? The cannon barrage and the bomb coming out from Ziggs feels like it can just do so much work to set up maybe for Rise to Realm Warp in, you know, something like a Volley Bear, look for a pick and find this way. So I think WE's composition, once again, a lot more creative in how it can play with the amount of globals and pseudo globals that it has.
I will say, if there is just a singular moment of a lapse of judgment from WE, they group up too closely near Yone. That Fate Sealed comes through, a True Shot Barrage over the top of it. In the late stages of the game, your entire team's dead. That's an instant one-hit combo right there that's available to EDG. Whether or not we see that pass, we'll have to wait and see. But Scout bringing out a Yone in the mid lane. Now, Scout is a player that will play any style, one of the most versatile mid laners that we have in the LPL, and he's going to show it as he brings out this melee assassin against Shanks. It's going to be a very interesting matchup, and it's going to be a test for Shanks, a player that really stepped up in game one.
Yeah, Shanks now being pushed onto, I'd say, his second tier of champion comfort. Still something he's played before, but probably playing a matchup that he might not be very comfortable with. And especially up against someone like Scout, who has been in the league for so long, has played against the best of the best, I think this will be the true test for him.
This is going to be a challenge, that is for sure. My eyes do tend to drift up towards that top side though, Lyric, because we've got Breathe on a Gangplank. This guy is a terror when he's on a carry later stages of the game. I'm really scared for EDG having to face up against Breathe. I was a little nervous for Elk there. It felt like he was stepping a bit too close to Mako, but EDG don't pull the trigger. Just going to drop a ward down onto these chickens.
Yeah, should be fine for now. And I'm just more curious, Munch. I'm still just harping on this mid lane matchup. I'm really curious to see what ends up happening in this one. I would assume Rise should be able to keep pressure relatively early on, especially I think at the level 3 mark, maybe should be able to get back safely, not have to worry too much about all-in traits coming up from Scout. If he is able to proc the phase rush, should be fine. But that level 6 mark is when I get really scared for Shanks and all the all-in opportunities being able to come out from Scout. But feels like a large part of the early pry on mid will kind of depend on, will allow for what these junglers are able to do, right? Whether they can contest like skirmishes in river or start making their way down to one side. But we know Shanks definitely is going to be looking to impact the map early on once he does get that realm warp available.
Yeah, feels like Shanks needs to get out of that 1v1, right? As with all melee versus ranged matchups, you get a level or two for free, where you just have the range advantage. But then once abilities start to come on through, Scout will be able to try and take control a little bit in that mid lane. And that's when Shanks is going to have to try and find power elsewhere. My eyes also have to drift towards that bottom side because Viper taking away this Ezreal, and I would argue, certainly in the laning phase, has been punished for that, right? Ziggs is going to be exceptionally effective in the early stages of the game against Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to be able to... I mean, once we're at a point where both AD carries just going to be chilling once again. I don't expect to see too much happening around this bottom half of the map, which sounds strange for EDG. So for EDG, it feels like maybe that's why you do bring in the Leona, right? So you still have opportunities to maybe set up dives later on once we do have access to our ultimates. Maybe if you can get Flandre to keep his TP advantage, which will be quite hard, as we're seeing Beishang and Breed set up for a dive right now.
Oh my goodness, straight off of the bat, they go to the top side. This is what WE do. This is their bread and butter. Flandre already low on HP. A barrel set up under the tower so he can't retreat towards his tower. He has to flash into his jungle here, and they're chasing for more. Shanks is moving up as well. Very low mana, Flandre. No flash available. They've got to find anything, any kind of CC. The Rune Prison will do it. No! 1 HP! The flash from Breathe. He will cut him down eventually. There we go. The first blood. It got a little dicey, I'll admit, but WE get the first blood.
Man, it's so tragic for Flandre as well. Shanks, he literally had just enough mana to do the E into the Rune Prison, right? If even a bit less, is a bit of trading coming down in bot lane. Doesn't look like anything should come from it, but Looks like Viper and Mako wanting to play out this lane relatively aggressive. JJ also here as well. Whenever you see heavy trades like this, it signals that potential dives can come through. The problem is WE are fighting the heavy trades back onto EDG's bot lane.
Yeah, missing an Elk, they're thinking back to 2020. They're like, we were born in the 2v2. This is what we were made for. JJ is just getting chucked out as well. Everybody that steps forward, Elk has about 100 bombs to throw at him. I'm almost calling him Jobug at this point, because it feels like we're going back to that aggressive 2020 gameplay. You cannot dive WE's bot lane.
Nope, Ziggs is just absolutely ridiculous champion. Again, I feel like EDG were setting up those heavy trades for the fact that their jungle was there. Sadly for them, they don't win the heavy trades. Elk was hitting everything, even stopping Jidge's back timer.
Yeah.
Gonna be a bit rough. Luckily for him, no camps up just yet, but might be a bit late to that Gromp if he wastes a bit of time. And we're seeing in mid lane still heavily in favor of Shanks on this Rise pick. I was curious to see what Scout would go with because, you know, we theorized about this pick coming out this exact draft. Maybe something like an Orianna was in my mind. Maybe he wants to bring even a bit more obscure. We were talking about picks like Cassiopeia always able to come out, but feeling confident on this Yone. We didn't expect it to get much agency early on, but we are getting close to that about 6-minute point where ults are going to be on the board for our soul laners. I feel like another problem for a Scout is, though, you always have to worry about the cannon barrage as well. So even if you can find maybe an opportunity where Shanks oversteps, you guys find access down in the bottom lane, always have to worry about that cannon barrage, especially now that Flandre doesn't have TP because of the shenanigans that happened earlier.
We'll have to see how these later stage interactions are going to pan out. I'm more curious about what's going to happen over the next couple of minutes, though, Lyric, because Dragon is onto the board here, and EDG, this is a team that we know love to focus on the Dragons. That has been one of their most standard ways of starting the game out. You can see a couple of on-the-way pings here, but JJ is moving up towards the top side, which is a very different look for EDG.
I feel like for EDG, like, these are the plays you want to be looking for right now, but you need to commit Mako to the play, because you know Shanks will have an easier time of being able to move first. Even look right now, 3 members of WE towards the top side.
Here we go. We've got a skirmish on our hands. Round Warp is going to come on through. Flandre stunned up and already taken down before the fight can even begin. Shanks in trouble. He's low on HP. JJ trying to get in face sealed as well from Scout, but he just doesn't have the damage at this point. Shanks gets away with his life and breathe. Still going strong in this one. There's a barrel on the floor. Big damage. Rune Prison. Scout eradicated. And WE, they can't be touched this game.
This is why for EDG, you got to be first on the play if you're going to look towards top. Is I need to pause because W is still going for it.
Oh, flash forced out. The level 6 jungle advantage there as Shanks gets good damage onto Mako. That's both flashes there. And it looks like an escape as well through the jungle. EDG cannot find an answer. And look at the gold lead already. 2,000 in favor of WE at the 7-minute mark. And they've got 2 plates on a Ziggs already.
That's the thing, right? You commit 4 members up towards top side. EDG are leaving Viper alone. W going to be able to zone him off that turret and pick up even more. For EDG to make that play up towards top, you need to be able to bring Mako up sooner, not overcommit for a play too soon. As you're right, Viper.
Elk has his ult. If Viper uses his E, he's in trouble, has to use it aggressively. Nicely played by Viper. That is what you call an outplay right there.
Yeah, Viper even having a bit of a smile on his face right after it did go down. So he was expecting it, right? He sees Elk kicks first. He's holding onto the E to come out. Then he will look for the aggressive trade forward. As we see here, EDG want to make a play towards topside because they realize they can't look towards bot. The problem is that WE are here first, because you're always going to push in mid lane with the Rise. You're always going to be able to move over. Sure, Scout does find a 2-man ult, but you really don't have any damage able to follow up. I still feel like Kennen really is going to be the thing setting all of this in motion once he does have the Slicing Maelstrom, but didn't have it, went down too soon, and I feel like critically Mako wasn't there yet. For EDG, you need to try and get numbers advantage on the top half of the map first, roam Leona over, and then force that play, because Scout will inevitably be late unless he does have a TP available to follow.
I will say, though, Lyric, as we're heading towards Heralds now, this is WE territory, and look at the top lane difference right now. Look at the 800 gold lead that Breathe has for himself. Although, while I say that, WE not moving in just yet. Breathe now trying to move his way over, but EDG have control of the Herald right now. Missing has moved up, but Doesn't quite feel like WE are willing to really contest this one. EDG are going to be able to grab themselves the Herald.
Maybe because W are missing so many of their, you know, like big team fighting tools, right? No cannon barrage, no ultimate on Baishong just yet. The bomb is down for Elk. Just a lot of things that would be good in 5v5.
Wait, hang on. Hang on a second. Is it me, or are we 9 minutes in and Elk just finished solo killing the first tower of the game by himself and got first turret gold completely to himself and is now 1,400 gold? Is this an illusion? Am I misreading this?
Munchables, that's what happens when you dedicate resources to top, lose on top, and lose on bottom at the same time. WE completely capitalizing 4K gold at 9 minutes. Like, man, what universe is this where WE are completely clapping EDG so far? LNG making a crazy run on the other side of the bracket. You can never predict what's going to happen in LPL playoffs. It is a total different beast, and I think from here, man, EDG's options are so limited. You've already lost bot tower, so now Ziggs can start roaming to the opposite side. Look to start whittling that turret down, use your satchel. Breathe can switch to bot lane. He'll be able to farm safely against Viper and Mako and do fine. And then Shanks can still keep playing this role of just trying to roam first, have Baishong hover towards mid, and then look to play. I'd even say start playing maybe more towards your Ziggs, not look for kills, just zone the enemy off of the turret with the threat of mid jungle and cannon barrage. But for WE, we've seen them continuously go towards their gangplank, so I wouldn't be surprised to keep that up, even though they shouldn't.
Careful, Flandre, mate. You've got a bit too far. The satchel charge goes a little bit wide. All of the bombs are going a little bit wide, and Flandre's going to be fine. The thumbs up from Elk. He knows what he's done. He knows the mistake he's made on that one. And I have to say, this is it. We said, like, there's been a different version of WE every single series so far in playoffs. They are playing to their opponents and now playing towards this topside. Flandre will just about survive, but with a Demolish here, with a Ziggs here as well, they've still got 3 more minutes to work on plates. I don't think they even need them, though, because they're, what, I think it's like half a plate at this point away from being able to just hit that tower with a satchel charge.
Yeah, we're going to see EDG try to pull pressure away from top by looking towards the mid, but WE able to answer, sure, they're going to be able to get some plate gold themselves and take some plates down, but this is where I was hitting on that I want to see WE start playing more towards their bottom duo. Sure, you're not necessarily going to be looking for kills like I hit on with the Ziggs, but just look to break that turret down by overwhelming them with numbers. You have push with mid jungle, you have the threat of cannon barrage, break that one down, then you can move your Ziggs to the mid lane and threaten to break down all outers. So I think pretty clear game plan for WE to follow over the next few minutes. For EDG, I think it becomes a bit dicey, right? There's no way you're going to be able to out-pressure in the mid 2v2 just yet. I feel like especially with how far ahead Shanks is getting in terms of being pretty close to his mythic item. So it still feels like JJ is probably just playing the cover game. Cover his bot lane, look to answer where Baishong is, look to go into the mid game steady, but I mean, the fact that you're 4K gold at 12 minutes behind feels like that ship has already sailed.
The thing is, the really weird thing about this game to me is that the 4K gold behind, but they got the Herald. It's meant to be like the team that gets the Dragon falls a bit behind in gold, and the team that gets the Herald, they get a gold advantage, right? That's the early game trade. That's not how this is going at all. Oh, Viper, you got to be careful. Will walk away with his life here, missing. Just walks up, drops a ward in Mako's face. Take that, mate. Have a ward. Drops another one as Mako has to back away. JJ moving towards the bot side here. Flandre has the slicing maelstrom. Shanks, you could be in for a world of hurt here. He's got to try and clear that wave, but I don't think the wave is going to matter. Flashes underneath his tower. Flandre tanking the cannon barrage, the stopwatch. Shanks still full HP. Nothing EDG can do.
I mean, they're looking for the cross-map play, but it's opening up for plays like this to come up from W where they can play towards the top side, even using the bomb. Lord. Looks like they might even be able to break down another turret.
Where did the macro genius EDG team go? Because right now they are being destroyed by WE in the macro game and maybe in the fight game too. Mako forced to flash as he's kicked away from this tower. There are no minions though. WE are kind of trapped here. More bombs coming out. Mako looking for an engage, but Breathe is arriving. You see Scout moving over as well. The minions arrive. Demolish will be procced. A satchel charge will be available. And WE get themselves their 3rd tower of the game already. They've got 3 towers. Plates aren't even done yet.
6K gold lead at 13 minutes much. This is top 4 of LPL playoffs. This is not where this stuff is supposed to be happening. I don't see V5 Rogue Warriors or TD on the Rift. This is WE versus Edward Gaming. And man, now it's so massive, right? We even look at where the gold is. Almost 1k gold up for Shanks. Almost 2k gold up for Elk. You have, again, about a 1k gold advantage in support. Just across the board, pretty much a component or almost a full item up on everyone. We see Breathe now sitting on that Triforce. It's going to be pretty strong now, especially making it hard for the members of EDG to walk in. We see right now WE making their way into River from Breathe pushing bot lane, so going to be able to do a nice job of zoning them off with the combination of barrels and bombs coming through.
We'll have to see what EDG have up their sleeves, but Missing wants to push the advantage. Remember, if a fight happens anytime soon, unless WE really mess it up, you have to believe they're the ones with a big advantage here. Good poke onto Viper there. Look where Scout is on the map. He's pushed all the way back to the tier 2, and you can see Breathe just rotates over towards the rest of the team. Mountain Drake spawning onto the map, and importantly, first Drake was Cloud, which means it's going to be a good soul this game. JJ moves in. Pillar across the team here. Bombs go through. Viper low on HP. JJ very low as well. Will finally fall. No, doesn't quite go down. There they go. Everybody falls simultaneously on the side of EDG. This WE, it looked a little dicey for a second there, but Viper just doesn't do anything yet.
They just don't do damage, right? Even Scout going in, it looked good at first, but the second the immediate burst comes out, there's just no follow-up damage able to come through.
Wait, did Flantre get solo killed?
You know, that is something, Munch, that we will find out, because it does look like he died towards the top half of the map.
Oh, no.
But WE now going to be able to turn this into a Herald as well, as we are going to see a replay of something. And yeah, Munch, I mean, he must have been solo killed, right? It's just him and Shanks up there in the top lane. The engage comes out. We see the amount of AoE that they do have available. JJ gets chunked extreme low cannon barrage, the bomb coming forward. Scout doing a decent job of getting in there, but still, the play looks flashy, but EDG just don't have damage. And I feel like even if items were relatively closer and like stats were more even, WE have so much AoE damage, right? The barrels, the bombs coming out, even Beishan being able to throw down something like his Sky Splitter. There's just so much work that's able to be done by WE. Your only frontliner is Mako, and Missing's able to take those stats away.
Now, I'm not especially sure where Heralds lie in the conversation of the perfect game. But right now, EDG don't have a single tower. They don't have a single kill. They'd love to change that as they try and make a play towards this bottom side of the map. EDG being forced away, though, as Missing arrives, and Breathe will be able to clear this wave up. You've already got 2 items on this gangplank. We're heading towards 2 items across the board here for WE. I just want to remind everyone, this is the... Oh, hang on, that's the solo kill on the bottom of our screen.
Yeah, he goes in.
It's just item diff. It's straight up item diff.
Yeah, Flandre even looks for it, right? He rocket belts in, tries to go for it, but like you're saying, the bit of difference coming out from Shanks, able to hit the Everfrost and just get the damage down. And now WE just get to keep trucking forward.
My lord. They've got a Herald. They don't even have to waste the satchel charge on this one. They could even push for a little bit more, because this Ziggs with a blue buff, he can do this all day long. There's some barrels in onto Viper as well, and a Mega Inferno Bomb, and a Cannon Barrage. Get out of there, Viper. This ain't your Rift, sir. WE continue the siege. Last time it was an ARAM. This time it is an absolute siege here from WE, and there's nothing EDG can do about it.
No, it doesn't even matter if you find the kills or not, right? WE able to force them off the objective. They take it, they get the gold lead, they get their items, and they are back on the map. Feels like this is a good time to talk about WE a little bit, because, you know, this is WE's first time in top 4 since 2017 summer. 2017 was also the last time WE won a split back in spring. They were spring champions back then, and also made it to Worlds the following split. So, been a few years since WE have had as much success as they found now, and for WE, so far in Game 1 and 2, already looking like a good sign to making their way up towards FPX, and potentially making their way towards an LPL championship or a Worlds for the first time in 4 years.
And it's worth mentioning on the topic of FPX, LNG gave them a hell of a series, even though it was a 3-0. LNG really showed up. We've got a bomb coming down. JJ's in trouble. He's going to be slowed. He's going to be chomped. He's going to be struck by lightning. And a little shot of gunpowder to finish him off as well. It's just easy pickings for WE at this point.
I was gonna say, right, this is a big playoff match. You don't want to call it over before it's over. But Munches is 10k
This is
gold
so over.
before 20 minutes. It feels like there's really no other word than doomed. EDG's win condition at this point is WE running it down one by one again and again and again. And maybe, you know, maybe they get to Elder and then like once Elder's smiteable, they just let JJ smite it. And then they even stat check that to see if they can still lose. And guess what? They probably still don't.
Yeah. Oh no, Mako's in trouble as well. Flashes into the base. He's okay. He survives for now. Here's the thing. The insult to injury on that conversation is that it's not like WE don't scale. They've got a Rise, a Ziggs, and a Gangplank. They have an insane late game composition. This doesn't get any better the longer the game goes on. It just gets into more control for WE. They take a tier 2 on the bot side. That is, if I'm not mistaken, every single tier 2 taken on the map already. And Ocean Drake is up in 20 seconds and WE in complete control of the river.
Now we'll get to find out the answer to the question of, do WE just say, screw it, Baron comes up, we start Baron, we force them into the pit, we fight them, and we probably win? Or do they go, no, guys, we have long range, we can siege, you know, we can take it a bit more tempered and just win and not potentially risk throwing any kind of bone to EDG. I want to see, I kind of expect WE to just go for the assured advantages, but with WE, you never know. WE are a team who love to go for these Barons as well.
Lyric, I do not believe it. Oh no, I was about to say EDG are gonna get a tower, but they can't even get that. Elk just ults the wave. EDG can't even take a tower on opposite side while the Drake is taken by Bayshug. Lyric, I'm running out of words here. This is feeling hopeless. This is a team that has never beaten EDG in playoffs before. WE has never won a playoff series against EDG. They're massively down in their head-to-head. It does not matter because they are looking at a 2-0 performance here. If they can keep this up, if they can just dot the I's and cross the T's. And EDG, they're struggling to even take a single tower.
And fans might be thinking, whoa, Munchables, calm down there. WE just beat EDG in the regular split. Guess what, guys? That was Clearlove and Junja playing. It was not this roster of EDG that had done so well all split long. So we didn't really know what to expect coming into today's series. You still expected EDG to be the heavy favorite, even ending their split on taking a game off of FPX. But not able to do much here today. And realistically, right, they can walk into face check, but they're probably just dead. Not the best pillar coming out for missing, kind of zoning off WE from being able to move forward, but for WE, I think you can just look to start this one up. You have the damage available. The one thing I question is WE's ability to turn, because they don't really have any hard engage, right? You pretty much have Thunderbear jumping at you, and that is about it.
Dude, Thunderbear, that's a good little nickname. I think that's his name for the rest of the series, I think, at this point. JJ, basically 1 HP. And why force the fight when you can just go for the Baron? JJ low, though. Flandre moving in. He's on the Ken and slicing Maelstrom. Could be the answer. True Shot Barrage across a couple, but EDG health bars are getting low themselves here. Can JJ get the steal? He's 1 HP. Bayshug finishes the kill, finishes the Baron. Flandre doesn't have to damage Viper, trying to finish Elk, but the flash keeps him safe. Scout will fall as well. And it couldn't have gone any worse for EDG. They try and make the miracle save. They try and hold on to that game, but there's nothing left to hold on to.
Where were you when WE speed ran EDG in the top 4 of LPL playoffs? Because WE can just tunnel down the base and look to be heavy favorites going into Game 3.
Lyric, right now the score is 12-0. Right now the towers are 7-0. Right now the dragons are 3-0. EDG have had but a singular Rift Herald this entire game. Who believed that the 7th seed would come in and dominate EDG like this?
You know, Munch, the fact that they didn't go for the risky end disappoints me. Add a bit of flair, WE, as we see here. They actually did add a bit of flair. I apologize. They went for a Baron. There were potential steal opportunities able to come out. We see WE all kind of jump out of the pit to try to stop the steal from being able to go forward. They are able to take down Jijis, so no threat of a smite. Flandre was still in the pit, so maybe you are a bit concerned about slicing Maelstrom damage, but they are able to bring it down in the end. They are able to finish off the members on the opposite side of the pit. And now, with mid inhibitor down with Baron, I feel like for WE, you could just start investing resources down at the bottom side, playing for that turret. You even could have started a push up in top because you do have TP on Shanks, but it seems like WE being more comfortable to play through a 2-lane setup and not risk a potential engage coming out from EDG before Shanks can maybe follow up and throw everything away.
I'm getting a little bit excited here, Lyric. I don't know if you know this. I'm relatively partial to a good WE series. I'm still a little bit on the fence on the fact that they're not regularly using Teachamar, but other than that, I am fully on board with this team. And right now, they are looking dominant, and they are looking like one of the best teams in the entire LPL. I cannot believe those words just left my lips. Here we go, Elk engaged upon by Mako. There's the fate sealed as well, but they just don't have the damage. Elk survives Flandre now, dives the backline. They managed to do it. They got themselves a kill. EDG will not be perfect gamed, but they will be gamed. At the end of the day, it's 17-1. It's going to be a 2-0 for WE. They've started this series the way they mean to go on. They continued their run. 2-0 now. 1 game away from making it to the semi-final.
And Munch, at that point, it was just pure